Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. I am the Desert Claw. In today's chapter, it's going to be a little different in the types of format that I do, just because some other manga reviewers on YouTube that I greatly respect got hit with the copyright hammer, specifically by Shueisha, and I know that that Fire Force is done by a different magazine, but it kind of has me spooked. So going forward, I'm going to limit the amount of stills to just like the cover of the manga, and then just we'll talk about the manga going forward. And that goes for all my reviews. You know, Black Clover, Fire Force, Berserk, doesn't matter. There'll be a Berserk review coming this weekend, and I'll be doing the same format. So anyway, this week, as you can see, this is the cover of the manga, and it is a really good reference to a great movie called Terminator 2. You can see this, it's pretty funny. So the theory that turned out to be the correct one last week, and I had about 3 of them, is that all pillars disappeared. All pillars did disappear. The reason we know this is both Sho and Iris are nowhere to be found. So I'm starting to wonder how this happened. Did they just vanish into smoke? Because later on in this chapter, you see the rest of the pillars, Haomeya, Sumier, I think it was Inca. I might be wrong about that. They kind of just vanished. So it wasn't like Burns, when Burns' doppelganger came from Adola and then dragged him in through a portal. They just poof in a puff of smoke went away. And so most of the team is extremely confused by this. And they put 2 and 2 together that Iris awakened as the 8th pillar. That's why she vanished as well. And then they basically get their information of where everybody is from Arrow. Arrow shows up, makes a peace deal with the team, and says if they're not here, they're in Adola. So all pillars are right now in Adola, and even the other side says we must make for the pillars. And so they all leave to that. What that means for the series going forward, I don't know. I think we're gonna have dual arcs. We're gonna have a Adola arc, and then we're gonna have a real world arc between the 8th and the people who are gonna be activating the key. So this isn't endgame just yet. They still are saying we must await the promised day. So something has to happen for this to start off. So basically, it's the key that Giovanni was looking for way back when we first met Vulcan in his workshop. And that key has to be used. They have that key, so they could just activate it right now, but it seems another event has to happen before they can use it. So when Haomeya and crew, they vanish into Adola, Yona basically says that humanity's hero has vanished, the holy child born of a virgin. Had he vanished like his mother and brother 12 years ago, meaning if he was either kidnapped with them or died, he might have ended up a legend, like he was supposed to. But he stayed on the surface, stained in stigma of matricide. No hero of legend, he lived like a devil. And now the hero has been snuffed out. And basically, it's kind of a sad revelation if you think about it. Shinra's entire life has been manipulated to be a bad guy in the eyes of the public, like I said in previous videos. And now it's going to be an uphill battle to redeem that after he beat Raffles, and the whole country, minus the Fire Force, basically sees him as the person who killed their great savior. So it's going to be crazy. I wonder, on the Adola side of things, if we're going to see a mini battle. And what I mean is, unless they go straight to their each individual pillar. So if there's, there's the giant pillars that came out of the ocean on the real world side, if Adola is a mirror image of that, there is probably pillars on that side too. The question is do they go directly to the pillar, or do they have to make for it? Like Sumier says, we must make for the pillars. What if there's a battle on the Adola side, and the players would be Shinra, Iris, Sho, and I say Nataku, versus Haomeya, Sumier, Amaterasu, and Inca? I could see a battle like that happening. You could also see some curveballs going on in Adola. Like, for example, I've always said, what if there are these legendary figures that live in Adola that were based off of the perception of people, that they weren't perceptions of actual people, they were perceptions of the legend. So you would see the legend of King Arthur. You would see the legend of Jesus. You would see Batman, if you wanted to say that, because Batman's a fictional character that has a lot of people who could perceive Batman to be real in the fictional collective unconscious. So one of my theories is that these archetypes, these fictional mythological archetypes, do live in Adola, but they're losing power, and they manifest themselves in the real world with other people, like, say, Arthur and Maki as a witch, and even, Tamaki as a cat. She has the lucky lecher ability, but it's mostly an unlucky thing, and she symbolizes a black cat, and black cats are often seen as unlucky. And if people perceive black cats to be unlucky, then there could be that type of thing on the other side, and then that idea manifests in the real world to her. That makes sense. Same with the other characters as well. So I don't know. We'll see what happens with that. Beyond that, though, blackouts start to happen across the entire empire. People are turning into infernals in mass because Adola is encroaching closer and closer and closer. And Arrow basically gives an olive branch to the 8th, and she joins them, and they head for Amaterasu because the blackout is due to Amaterasu not there anymore. She is now in Adola, like with the rest of the pillars. So, and the key has to be activated at Amaterasu, apparently. So that's going to be the final battle. And then we get this kind of flashback, too, of Sho saying, as long as Shinra lives, doesn't matter if what just happened, he's going to be a hero. He's going to save everybody. So we'll have to see what happens there. But then we get the last panel shows the players who are left behind, and you see Dragon, you see Charon, you see Yona, and you see Giovanni, the creepiest version of Giovanni, and he's got faces and eyes everywhere, and it reminds me of Pride from Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood. He's the creepiest freaking villain in this entire series. So now we're going to see the matchups. Arthur's going to get his rematch against Dragon. I don't know who will fight Charon. I don't know who will fight Giovanni. I'm guessing it'll be Vulcan, maybe Vulcan and Obi again. I don't know, but it's going to be really, really, really good to see that. And there's obviously tons more White Clad that's still left behind. I don't know if this is just going to be these 5. I can't think of the character who was able to raise infernals from the dead and make her own, like, golems. I can't think of her name. And she was literally just featured in the anime last week, so I don't know. But yeah, that's the end of the chapter, so I wonder if there's going to be a split arc. It's going to be kind of like a Berserk where you have the Guts Party arc, and then some chapters it switches back to Griffith. You'll have an entire chapter dedicated to those on the Adola side, and then you have another chapter dedicated to the 8th trying to prevent the cataclysm from happening. It's going to be really interesting to see what happens next. So, well, if you like that, go ahead and hit the like button and subscribe to the channel for more content, and I really appreciate it. Once again, everybody, I'm the Desert Claw, and I hope you all have a good one.